sister today or this week.
You what?
I play your sister this week.
Where at?
No, on the fantasy.
Are you player?
Yeah.
You're about to have her baby like in a week.
Uncle Chris.
Yeah, that's weird.
And at checkout, use discount code Catfish Lagoon. All one word, Catfish Lagoon. To receive 15% off your purchase. Why choose Lagoon? Well, because your dessert beer deserves it. Take two. What is up? It is your boy Johnny Mags back at you once again for another edition of the All Angels Podcast. Joined as always with
Dan Garcia.
And we'll quickly get into this, man. We'll jump right into the show. Let's talk about, well, quickly, if you guys have any emails for us, email us at allangelspodcast@gmail.com. That's allangelspodcast@gmail.com. Any questions, comments, concerns that you might have for the show or for us, just email us there and we'll do our best to answer your questions and comments or give our opinions on your comments here on the show. Where can they find us on social media, Daniel?
Yeah, it's going to be Halo_Haven on Twitter and on Instagram. Give us a follow again. It's Halo_Haven on Twitter and Instagram.
Awesome. Now, we quickly, let's touch on the poll question of the week. We talked about what the Angels needed. We were talking on the last couple podcasts. We're going to start talking about what the Angels are going to need to do in the offseason to improve this ball club. What was the poll question that we asked this week?
Yeah, just for people that haven't listened before, or this is your first time, I try to post, before a podcast, the week before a podcast, I like to put up a question and let you guys vote on it. Again, on Twitter at Halo_Haven and our Facebook page. Just look up Halo Haven on Facebook. But this week's question was, where do you think the Angels' priority should be in the free agency coming up? And your options were starting pitching, third base, first base, and second base. And surprisingly, starting pitching ran away with it with 69%. Third base had 20%. First base and second base both had 5 and 6%. So the majority, definitely the mass majority, picked starting pitching. So where did you vote?
I leaned towards the pitching. I went on my comment on the Facebook page on Halo Haven. I had posted, don't want to go with the obvious answer, but I'm going to go with pitching because you can never have too much good pitching. And now I'm not saying the Angels need to go and get Jake Arrieta or get a Kershaw or anything. Not that there's anything like that out there, but I feel like if they can get a solid number 2, number 3 guy in the middle of that rotation, not only does it give you an extra solid arm, but it gives you that option where a guy who is on the cusp of making the rotation, you could probably let him, be a long reliever in the bullpen, maybe start him at AAA, just in case if there is injuries like there was this year, you can bring him up, whoever that may be. But pitching, in my opinion, you can never have too much good pitching. So that's why I lean towards the pitching side of it, because pitching wins you championships. That's what they say. So you can never have too much good pitching. So I went with the pitching side.
I personally went with third base, but going back to your pitching, I kind of thought that when I first typed everything out, that's kind of where I was leaning towards.
Right.
And then looking more into the numbers and looking more to what the Angels did last year with their starting pitching, again, 44 wins, so these are all AL ranks. 44 wins, so that's 14th. ERA was 6 in the AL. So it wasn't terrible, especially considering all the injuries they've had throughout the year with Skaggs, Richards, Shoemaker, J.C. Ramirez. A lot of guys that you're expecting to be bigger parts of your rotation end up getting hurt, seeing limited action.
Right.
So it's hard for me to say let's sink money into a starting pitching when you really, as an organization, don't know fully yet what you have in that rotation because you haven't had a full healthy year from most of those guys. So we have a sound from Baseball Tonight, a podcast with Buster Olney. He interviewed Billy Epler from the Angels GM, and the discussion they had was about the pitching rotation and the injuries and what they're going to do moving forward.
Here we go.
Well, I think we're going to get a little bit of an indication from Shu and JC, who are both guys that are going to end the year on the disabled list, but they are or at least in Shu's case is actually actively throwing right now, and JC will be behind him. So we'll get a little bit of an indication of what we can expect, heading into spring training, just from a standpoint of who's going to be able, and if there's going to be guys within that group that are unable. I mean, we will have Nick Tropiano coming back. Unfortunately, we will have lost Alex Meyer for what feels like it's going to be all of 18, or at least a very significant portion of that. But we'll have some guys coming back. Hopefully, we'll get some good news as we get a little deeper in the fall and can really assess.
Better hold on to that one.
The situations with JC and Shu and.
I have a couple of
right now are positive.
Ricky Henderson.
But I mean that
it's going to be a
cards for us, and I don't think there's any way.
I have an Eddie Murray
around that. It's just we're going to have
this
to
Eddie Murray autograph the other
8 to 9
that
guys
bat I had Daniel bid on Goodwill. I
We'll
had an Eddie Murray autograph on it. It was a team bow.
Yeah, minor league free agency or a guy developing internally, such as one of our top prospects is a young kid named Jaime Barria, who's really made a name for himself and really moved through the organization, at a pretty rapid pace this season. And, and then we'll rely on some of the guys to come back healthy, such as Nick Tropiano. So it's going to have to be a situation where we're comfortable with 7 or 8, at least in spring training, and then looking for 2, 3, 4 more to emerge. And that's just our reality. We can't be blind to that.
Man, he touched on a lot of good stuff there. Being realistic is one of them. So I like what he said,
Yeah, too, exactly. They want to get these guys back at JC. A Shu should be fine for the beginning of the year. Tropiano is coming back from Tommy John. It's kind of sucks to see that they're not going to have Meyer back because he was showing a lot of promise, but he might come back towards the end of the year. That's still kind of up in the air. But if you have JC, Shu, Trop, Skaggs, Richards, Haney, Bridwell. I mean, that's 7 pitchers that you can comfortably throw out there. And yeah, maybe there's not one dominant front line pitching, but if everyone pitches to where they should, Richards could probably easily be that guy, but you still have really good depth at that position.
Right. So you leaned towards
third base.
Okay.
And the big name that everyone's throwing out there is Moustakas.
Yes.
29 years old. He's with Kansas City, going to hit free agency. Again, kind of with the free agency and being an Angels fan, we've gotten burned by it so many times as fans with whether it's the Josh Hamilton contract more recently, or if you go back to Mo Vaughn, the Vernon Wells, Gary Matthews Jr. I mean, for every Vladimir Guerrero and Torrey Hunter signing you have probably 4 or 5 absolute busts. Albert is, some people will be leaning towards the bust, but if you can get Moustakas here and sign him and have him at a reasonable cost, and you don't absolutely tear up your payroll and give him a huge 10-year contract, because again, he's 29, so I would like to see if you can get him like a 6-year, 7-year, more comfortable that way. I think 10-year, you're kind of going way overboard. But I like Moustakas as a pop to get some pop to that lineup, because when you look up the stats for third base, these are all AL stats. So in hits they're 11th, in home runs they were 10th, and RBIs they were 14th, and in average they were 14th. So that's all bottom half, and almost like in RBIs and average dead last in the AL at that position.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with. I see third base being an option. I talked to a couple of people on the Halo Haven fan page on Facebook. They talked about if we pick up Moustakas, what does that do? Where does that leave Valbuena? Talked about it before. Valbuena came up as a middle infielder. Put him at second base, then you don't have to worry about second base as much. Played 209 games in his career at second base, 500 and some odd at third, and about 160 to 180 at first. So second base is his second position. That's an option for the Angels. You pick up a guy like Moustakas, you don't have to worry about second base, at least for this year. You got a guy like Coward who can fill in.
Right. And then too, like if you do get Moustakas at third, it frees up, like you're saying, Valbuena to play second base, and then if Chrome's struggling, he can go to first base. Third if Moustakas needs a day off. So if they are able to sign Moustakas, they are able to get a little more depth with Valbuena being able to fit in where he needs to be put in and not being pigeonholed in one position.
Right.
Where I think down later in the season they would have liked Yunel to take some at bats against lefties, and to keep them for coming off the bench if if the matchup presents itself. But I think if they sign Moustakas, it helps the depth. It helps something they really need as far as some kind of pop in that third base spot in the lineup.
Yeah. So I'm going to quickly read an email that was sent to the allangelspodcast@gmail.com by Rob Lasney. He actually sent 2 questions, but I'll read the second half of his question because that's what we're talking about right now. It says, sounds like Upton may be opting out, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's not re-signing. Should the Angels make a move at re-signing him? What do you think, Dan?
I think so. I think that should probably be one of the main priorities, even more so than third base, because if you can get him still on the team and being able to re-sign him, or I don't know, maybe convince him to opt in, your outfield set with him, Trout, and Calhoun. I mean, that's a really good outfield you have. And we were talking about it earlier. I don't know how or where he would get more than $22.1 million in the next contract.
Yeah. I mean, I think the deal right now is a really good deal, 22 per year almost. So if he does come back, you're gonna have, obviously he wants a little more. So I say why not go for Upton if he can produce like he did all year long for both the Tigers and the Angels towards the end of the season. He went off on a little home run tear there. And
at the end, yeah.
so 30 plus home runs, 100 plus RBIs, batting in the high 80s. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah, I just think he's probably going to try to get a couple, because right now if he opts in, he has 4 years left.
Right.
I personally think he's going to try to get maybe that 5th, 6th year in the contract, seeing that this will be his last chance to get a big contract, him being 30 years old, or going to be 30 by the next season starts. So, again, I guess it all comes back to how much you pay to how much they produce. If you're paying a ton of money, you better hope he produces great numbers. And if you have that inkling where you're not sure if he's on this decline or what, you got to be really cautious about backing up the truck and kind of, oh, here, take $30 million, or here, take $25 million for 6-7 years. And now you're kind of put in the position you are now with Albert, where it's the end of the career and the production is way down, but you're still paying him a ton of money.
Yeah, and you mentioned it before, front loading the contract and having the back end being...
Right, if they're able to do that, that would be great.
So since you talked about Albert, you have downloaded a soundbite of Billy Upton talking about Albert Pujols, right?
Yeah, and again, it's the same podcast, Buster Olney and ESP Baseball Tonight. Again, just kind of talking about Albert and where they see him going with this season into the future with the Angels.
Like that's absolutely it. The focus will be, the conditioning work and kind of, a lot of functional movement, kind of exercises and things that he'll be focused on. But it's going to be, kind of managing that.
What's a trip is
having opportunity to
Tyler Chatwood,
to rest for a period of time.
who think of all the guys who've come and gone since,
If you're undergoing
for like Iannetta for Chatwood.
I think it was
And Iannetta's been gone for a few years now. And Chatwood's still there on the Rockies.
you're managing those types of surgeries.
Like, he's not like super impressive, but he's
Yeah.
gives you some bunch of innings.
To let its natural
Innings
healing,
eater.
Take place, and that
Something
natural
they just need to
healing
get
that
just
comes
an
with
innings leader, like you said, just
rest, because you're
I mean, that's been since what? It's almost like 7 years ago.
Eight,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
2011.
exercises
He
that
went
you have to-
8-15 this year.
Get underway.
4.69 ERA.
So,
He never had lights out stuff, but I mean,
to take
5th guy in your rotation, spot starter kind of guy,
nothing but sleep and rest, your body actually has a chance to help repair itself, and then you put together a program
Well, that answers a lot. I mean, we all joke around about how Pujols runs with a piano tied to his back. But I mean, obviously, like you've mentioned, if the production that we get from him right now, I'll take it, but I would like it maybe at 8 to 9 million per year.
Cheaper cost. Like he finished the season with a 241 average, 23 home runs, 101 RBIs. He was a team RBI leader. But again, when you're paying the guy, 26 million, 27 million, you expect a higher average, more home runs and stuff like that. But kind of what Epler was saying, they're feeling optimistic, and I guess I don't know how, if you had any other option being in the front office, but Albert going through the whole offseason without having a surgery and being able to rest and recover more than just trying to rehab an injury on a surgery on a foot or surgery on a knee or something like that. So that'd be interesting to see how that affects him. If it does help him, if maybe those power numbers come back up a little bit now that he has a full season, the off season to rest his legs, and maybe some of that little, like I said, the power comes back a little bit more. But it'd be something to watch out for next season for sure.
Yeah, hopefully he can produce the RBI numbers again, and let's hope that average gets up a little bit. And being the DH helps. He doesn't have to worry about playing the field. So
Yeah, and he's only 32 hits away from the
3,000.
3,000. Yep.
So another milestone, hopefully at Angel Stadium. Maybe the curator will go again and well, you can't get the hit ball, right?
Unless it's a home run.
It's a home run. So hopefully he'll be within distance of grabbing number 3,000.
Fan interference and just reach your hand over and grab it.
Get that ground rule double. Stick your hand out there. All right. So we talked about it last week. We wanted to do our year-end review, or not year-end review, our season-ending awards. So this is the All Angels podcast / Halo Haven Los Angeles Angels end of the year award. So we thought about wanted to do, the curator mentioned he wanted to do moment or whatever of the year. You said, how about newcomer, right? Newcomer, not necessarily a rookie, but a guy who wasn't in the organization the Angels picked up, came in this year and did his job. Defensive player of the year.
Right.
Did you pick a rookie?
I picked a rookie.
Okay,
yep.
Rookie and MVP. So let's start with the newcomer. I'll let you go first.
All right, mine. This guy was actually picked up by the Angels through a trade. He was traded from Milwaukee to the Angels for Jeff Bandy in December, of 16, so right before the season started. I personally think he's going to be a Gold Glove winner at catcher, but I picked Martin Maldonado as the newcomer, just because when you look at his stats and you look at what he's done behind the plate, I still can't get over the fact he played 138 games as a catcher.
I wrote that down. That's amazing.
That to me is just mind-boggling that a guy in a position like that's as physically demanding, you're constantly squatting and knee problems and everything, and maybe you get a collision at the plate and maybe you need a couple days off. No, this dude played 138 games, 14 home runs, career high there, 38 RBIs, career high there. Again, and me personally, I feel he is going to be a Gold Glove winner behind the plate.
Awesome. I like that. I went a little different because Martin is going to be on my list as we get moving on. I picked newcomer of the year. I picked Blake Parker. Blake Parker was key coming out of the bullpen, especially late in the season. He took over that closer's role, but he came in spring training and was just striking dudes out. In spring training, we were like, who's this Blake Parker guy? And he won a job when he wasn't even a thought in the Angels' minds to be on the Major League roster coming into spring training. Ended up staying there the whole season. 71 games, 67 and 1/3 innings pitched with a 2.54 ERA, 8 saves, and what sticks out to me, 86 strikeouts and 67 and 1/3 innings pitched.
Yeah, to me that he was definitely one of the guys that I was thinking of in a couple of different spots.
Right.
For people that don't know, kind of a weird journey to get to the Angels. He was actually on the Angels in October of 16, was waived. Milwaukee picked him up, then Milwaukee waived him, and the Angels picked him back up. This is all within like 2 months.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, so he ended up the season on the Angels with like a non-roster invitee to spring training, and next thing you know, like you said, he was just mowing people down, and he lives in an RV
Which is
in
freaking
Anaheim
awesome.
during the season, which, as I like going camping. I'm like, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, and then you send us that message.
Yeah,
we
where
went from here all
the way back home, all the way back home, just boom, one shot.
Yeah, I picked Blake Parker solely for the fact, like Daniel said, that he lives in an RV.
RV.
That's enough. Like he didn't even have to pitch Blake RV Parker.
Yeah, that
or
was
Blake Trailer Parker.
Trailer
One
Parker.
of the two.
Like
we gotta go roll with one of those.
Trailer Parker. We
Yeah.
need to make some stickers.
T-shirts next
I
year.
think
T-shirts.
Yes.
again, one of those guys that's coming off the books. Hopefully, he's probably gonna make a little more than the $560,000.
Well deserved though.
Yeah. So if you can get him next year for another
I'm sure they would.
$1 or $2 million for a couple of years, and
I'm
see how
sure
it goes.
I'm sure he's coming back. They
Yeah,
just
so-
should not pass on that. Okay. So that's awesome. We picked different people there. Okay, so moving forward, let's go with pitcher. My pitcher of the year, I'll go first this time. I went with JC Ramirez. Yeah, I went with JC. Should I go with JC? Yeah, I went with JC. I have two written down. Whoa. Paranormal activity going on here. I went with JC because, and I had Parker there, but he's on my list later. JC Ramirez, again, a guy who came in. I don't think the Angels expected him really to make the starting rotation coming in a spring. He got in there. He got hurt at the end of the season, but check, these numbers are not bad, guys. 27 games pitched, 147 and 1/3 innings, 111 games. He lost 10, but you got to remember the Angels had a up and down kind of like first half of the season where we were just kind of playing below 500. 4.15 ERA is a little high, but JC showed a lot to me. I like JC as my pitcher of the year because obviously, Garrett was down, Skaggs was down. I wanted to go with Parker, but he's on my list later. So my pick was JC Ramirez.
And that's not a bad one too. I mean, he could have easily fit too in the newcomer realm too, because
Yeah.
he was
He was a newcomer.
He was a signing in the offseason. For me, mine is I was really close to putting Blake Parker in that pitching
Okay.
spot, and then I started comparing some numbers, and then when I started comparing the numbers, this guy just kind of stood out to me, and it's the Angels pitcher of the year, Petit. He won, for you guys that didn't go to Saturday's game, he won the Nick Aidenhart Award for Angels pitcher of the year, but he did literally everything the Angels asked him for, whether it was closing, whether it was starting, whether it was the eighth inning, whether it was long relief. He did everything. I mean, you look at his innings, 91 innings, which is by far the most by any reliever in that bullpen. Finished with a 2.76 ERA.
Very good, very good.
And I still don't believe this stat, so I don't know if I did it right or I looked it up right. He came in with 20 inherited runners.
Wow.
He didn't give up any.
Wow.
So with that alone, I'm thinking to myself, how is this guy not batting average against is 207. So without a doubt, my pitcher of the year was Petit.
Nice. Okay, we had options. That's good. We had options there, and people were talking about how bad our pitching was. Well, look at we had options here. Okay, moving on. Let's go with defender or defensive player of the year. Who is your defensive player of the year?
I mean, I don't think there's any much discussion about it, but Simba. I mean, there's nothing else really you can say about him that no one hasn't said already. Again, kind of like a Maldonado, I believe he will be a Gold Glove winner. He was the co-MVP with the Angels and Mike Trout, but for defensive purposes, I mean, defensive WAR was 4.2. There's no one even close to that. Defensive runs saved was 32. The next closest guy was like 5. So just looking back at it, played 158 games. So I mean, he literally played almost every single game throughout the year. 14 home runs, 69 RBIs, which the RBIs was a career high. 19 stolen bases, which was a career high. And he walked. He got on base. He had 47 walks, which also was a career high. So he had a really great year, 278. He had that stretch which really sold me, was that stretch when Mike went out and
Yeah.
he was able to pick up the slack, and that's when he went on his little
Mhm.
tear. But defensively, there's nothing that he can't get to if it's even near
yeah.
left field or shortstop, or even probably closer to where you think a third baseman would get.
Right. Now, I didn't go with Andrelton because I knew you would, and I know everyone else would, because he's Andrelton Simmons. Okay, he's gonna be on my list later. Mine was Martin Maldonado, because
Right.
that guy saved so many runs just blocking the play. It was a pitch that's, I don't remember who threw it. 36-foot fork ball in the ground. Might have been Parker, and there was bases loaded. And I don't know how Maldonado stopped it, but he stopped it, and he did that all year long. I don't know if you have the numbers on Maldonado at all, but I don't know. I think he was maybe second to or maybe he was first to Salvador Perez in stolen base percentage.
No, he was first.
There you go. Martin Maldonado saves runs, or at least stops the running game because of that cannon arm, quick pop-up move. Like you said, I see him being a Gold Glover soon. And the fact that he played 38 games?
38 games.
138 games behind the plate. That is insane, man. That is a throwback to old school baseball right there. So
Yes.
my defender of the year, my defensive player of the year is Martin Maldonado. All right, so rookie of the year. I'll go first this time. My rookie of the year, it was close for me, and then when I really thought about it, I went with Parker Bridwell as my rookie of the year for the Angels. Keenan was right there, but Parker Bridwell pitched in 21 games, 121 and 1/3 inning pitched. He went 10-3 with a 3.64 ERA. This kid came in to the rotation when JC went down. Right?
Yeah, he was spot starting I think a little bit before that, but yeah.
He came in, pitched a few games, and we were like, just instantly, I was impressed with his command, his approach to the game. He looked like wiser beyond his years to me. So instantly, I was kind of drawn to this kid, and then he ended up finishing a little slow. He had a few starts where it kind of tailed off, but you got to remember, kid's never pitched more. I'm sure he's never pitched more than 121 and 1/3 innings before in his career, 21 games. Parker Bridwell kind of kept us in there and became the guy that we even at one point said, if the Angels make the one-game playoff, is Parker Bridwell going to be the starter?
Right, absolutely.
And we kind of agreed with it. So Parker Bridwell is my rookie of the year for the Angels.
Yeah, and actually that's probably the one we agreed on. The one so far we agreed on. I picked Parker also. I honestly, when you look at the rookies, whether it was Coward at second or whether it was Middleton in the bullpen, I think Bridwell was the runaway winner for me.
Yeah,
It wasn't really close. And like you were saying, with his 121 innings, before that, he had 3 innings in the big leagues, 3 1/3 innings in the big leagues. So for this kid, again, and he's a kid, he's 25 years old, so it's not like he peaked out or anything like that. This guy, if he keeps on getting better, it can be a solid rock in the Angels rotation for the next few years. But when you look at his numbers and look what he's able to do, he was a runaway, I think, with the Angels like MVP or Rookie of the Year because he's at 10-3. I think the Angels for his first handful of games they won, whether he got the win or not. The Angels won, so it's kind of crazy to think that this guy was just pretty much given away by Baltimore for a player to be named later or cash, which I still don't think they have said who's going where, but. I mean, again, from his first game in Atlanta, he won that game. He pitched 6 innings, and then he had his little troubles, early on. But you look towards the end of the year, it was something that was really great for the Angels to see and have promise in his last month of starts. 3-1, with a 3.97 ERA, a little high, but batting average against is 236. He's a quick worker. He's a ground ball guy. He doesn't mess around a lot. He gets in, gets out, and he really depends on that defense to help him. And he's something. Yeah, he's someone that I think everyone should be looking out for next year.
Right. And my runner-up was Keenan. I said it. So I'll quickly. 64 games for Keenan, 58 1/3 inning pitched, 63 Ks. So that's high strikeout guy with 3.86 ERA. Pitched in some pretty clutch situations for the Angels. So there are good things to come for Keenan. So Let's
Right.
not forget about him. But all right, so here it is. Drum roll. MVP for the Angels season. Who'd you have?
I'm going back with my defender of the year. That's why I kind of went on a rant because he's also my MVP.
Yeah.
Simmons, and I don't know how. I think everyone has the name Mike Trout, and everyone loves Mike Trout, and he deserves everything he gets. That's fine, but if you're just looking for a year, just this year, I mean, it's crazy. His WAR was at 7.1, which I think was like top 3, top 4 in the majors. Going back to his stats, 14 home runs, 69 RBIs, 19 stolen bases, 331 on base percentage. Everything being career highs, possibly a Gold Glove, should be a Gold Glove. Picking up the slack when Trout went out, I don't see how anyone can argue that Simmons isn't the MVP for the Angels this year.
And we agree again. My guy's Simba, number 2, Andrelton Simmons, 158 games, pretty much played every
Yep.
game. 278 ERA or batting average, tailed off there at the end, but still was very consistent throughout the whole year. 69 RBIs, almost at 70. That alone, his offensive numbers, those numbers offensively, I'll take all day long. People were so upset when we traded away Eric Ibar. Andrelton Simmons, come on. I mean, he's still young.
Right.
We still have him under contract for like 3 more years, 3 more years. Andrelton Simmons, like you said, picked up the slack when Trout was down, was the guy who was driving in runs when Trout wasn't here, when Trout missed 6 weeks. I just feel like Andrelton Simmons is deserving of the Angels MVP, and to me, he was the Angels MVP this season. There was a email, let me get to it here, sent to the All Angels Podcast at gmail.com, if I can get to it.
And just while you look at that up, I mean, if you look at just his summer, so from June 1st to August 29th, Simmons, again, 76 games played, 9 home runs, 40 RBIs. This is in the middle of his hot streak. He was batting .298. So again, that summer period where Trout was out, he was able to pick up the slack. Again, if he batted .298, that would have been a career high for him. On base percentage was .344, slugging was .468. So just that summer, able to keep the Angels in the running for that second wild card spot was, to me,
consistency too.
Yes.
Consistency. Okay. It's from Rob Lastings, who had sent the email about re-signing up there. He said, "Okay, my question: what BS was that? Angels voted Trout and Simmons MVP. Come on. We all know, yes, Trout should get some recognition, but that's an obvious choice. Simmons to me was the MVP on the Halos this season, so we're not in total disagreement." Chris, who was your MVP for the Angels season this year?
Without a doubt, Simmons. I think everyone
Right?
has to come to some type of agreement on that one.
Yeah, I mean Trout is so obvious, and like
I
Rob said,
think part of it though is you're trying to keep Trout happy.
I guess.
You're trying to make him a happy camper, especially when as his contract.
But you would think he'd be
drew,
understanding that.
that he was, but I
The
think
athlete ego is very fragile.
But yeah, you're
sometimes,
right, yeah.
so-
I think that was part of it.
Okay.
They're trying to do little kid gloves there, but
Okay. I
That's
mean,
my
if that's
take
what
on
it
it.
was, and okay.
I mean, but you can't argue the numbers too. 30+ home runs, about over 300. But the reason why they were even in it was because of Simmons.
Right. Okay. So that was our awards.
End of the year award.
End of the year awards. I liked them. I know we weren't all in total agreement.
Right,
We had our,
absolutely.
but I mean, for the most part, it was the same guys, just in different spots.
Right.
So that's pretty cool. All right, so there was an email sent again to allangelspodcast@gmail.com by Daniel Ortega. He wrote, "So now that the dust has settled and cleared, I keep reading." Here we go again. "I keep reading online the negative comments on social, and it's getting very old. I saw a post about how Butcher and Black are now coaching playoff teams and how social was holding them back. Really, guys? Really? That's BS. I by no means am a social fan, but as far as to blame him for every loss and every miscue is downright dumb," in capital letters. "At some point, players must perform and take the blame. I'm not saying Socha doesn't make mistakes, because oh my God, he does. But comments like Butcher and Black are Butcher and Black are playoff coaches now because they left Socha is stupid. Okay, I had to rant over. What do you think about that, Dan?
No, I've always been a social guy. I mean, just in the fact that you look at his records. I mean, you have guys like Terry Collins from New York Mets.
Former Angels manager. by the
Yeah,
way?
they were in the World Series
Bring him back.
3 years ago, 3 years ago, and now he's out of the job. You know, and you have
He's available.
He's
Terry,
available.
Terry, you listening?
yeah. So I mean, I think managers sometimes take too much heat for sometimes you just need the players to play. This was Socha's first time having back-to-back losing seasons, and it's not like it was by a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for the 18 years he's been the Angels manager, he's never had back-to-back losing seasons until now.
That's impressive, guys.
And that's still with an 80 and 82 record. So it wasn't like it was, you know, a 74 loss or 77 loss season. So, you know, players have to play. And if you want to bring back Butcher, because I could swore a ton of people were
Oh, they wanted his head.
oh, we're gone.
Yeah.
And it's kind of different when you have a Zach Greinke,
And
Robbie
and
Ray.
Robbie Ray.
And a healthy rotation.
a healthy rotation. You have Goldschmidt playing first base.
Yeah.
You
JD
know,
Martinez
JD
going
Martinez.
off like a freaking
So
psychopath.
yeah, I believe I agree with the email that sometimes the players just have to play and the manager has no say in the matter. And you know, you see this a lot, and it kind of bugs me because I don't want to call people dumb, but I think there's a lot of dumb people out there that I don't know why they feel that they're right about where Socha should, you know, lose his job or be fired. When you go to any kind of magazine or any kind of publication where these guys are hired to follow baseball, and pretty much unanimously, everyone has said this is Socha's best managing year he's had since he's been with the Angels.
On cue, the dog, every time we talk about Socha, the dog gets intense. The dog knows that this is a hot topic thing, a hot topic discussion, the Mike Socha thing. So on cue is the curator's dogs. All right, last email was sent by Edward Vizcaino at allangelspodcast@gmail.com. Good work on the show, guys. So after seeing the Yankees-Twins game, do you really think the Angels would have beaten the Yankees? Twins jumped out early, but damn, the Yankees are tough offensively. I just don't think our pitching could have done much. What do you think?
I think it would have been interesting just because of the fact that I do believe that for people that didn't watch it, it came down to a bullpen game. Both pitchers were out like in the first inning, 2 innings. So I would have liked the Angels' chances as far as the bullpen goes. Like I think if they would have had if it worked out the same exact way to where, you know, you get all these runs early, now it's a bullpen game, I would like the Angels' chances better than the Twins because I feel that they have a better bullpen than the Twins. So I'm not saying they would have easily would have, you know, beat the Yankees because the Yankees have a killer bullpen. Their bullpen's number 3 in the AL and ERA. The Angels are 5th, but the Twins are all the way down to 12th. So when it came down to a bullpen game, I think they would have been able to, you know, give them a better shot, give them a better fight.
That's a tough one for me to answer. I tend to agree with my co-host here, Daniel. I think bullpen. I had a lot of confidence in our bullpen this year, and the Angels, if you know, one game playoff situation, all hands on deck. So they wouldn't have necessarily had to go quickly to the bullpen. They could have gone. I mean, technically it is a bullpen, but they could have gone to another starter in the second inning, whatever. But then you had a guy like Petit who could have pitched 2-3 innings in between there, and then closed out with guys like Parker, you know, stuff like that. So you just never know. That's a tough question to answer.
I mean, because and then too it all, and again, kind of going back to the season we had, the issue the Angels had wasn't necessarily the pitching; it was more the offensive type. So you know, the Angels are sitting there with the sixth best team ERA in the AL, 7th in strikeouts and 6th in batting average against. So that I don't think would have been the issue. I think the issue for the Angels would have been producing those runs to keep up with the Yankees. I mean, because they finished in the bottom of a lot of categories, or close to the bottom of a lot of categories. They were 13th in home runs, 15th in hits, 11th in RBI, and 14th in average in the AL. So I think where they would have surpassed the Twins in the bullpen, I'm not sure if they would be able to produce the same amount of
Yeah,
runs.
especially against that tough New York
Bullpen.
pitching staff and bullpen. Yeah. Okay, last question by Edward. Seeing that you guys are memorabilia collectors, do you have any cool stadium used memorabilia? And if so, what's your favorite stadium piece?
That's more towards Chris.
That's the curator.
Like stadium, like game used,
Yeah, it
or like
seems like-
stadium pieces, or
It says here stadium memorabilia. It says, you have any cool stadium used memorabilia? So I'm assuming pieces. And if so, what is your favorite stadium piece?
well, in the garage, Edward, we have 5 of the old orange seats from the old Anaheim Stadium before the renovation. We have those, so that's what I was sitting in right there behind the scenes. So that's kind of a cool piece. We have two actually more seats on the bus. Just came up like on a suite plaque that came off from like
Yeah.
outside one of the suites at the
Yeah.
stadium. So that's cool. As far as game used, I have a Willie Mays Aikens jersey from '79 season. It's kind of a random jersey. Just came up last Saturday. A weird story or weird coincidence how Andrew Romine played all 9 positions on Saturday and actually found a game-used rookie season Andrew Romine jersey that he only wore for a week. A fellow, actually the ultimate collector out there, Tom Duino, informed me that he only wore that high number for 1 week. So it's kind of
Is it like
really
73
rare.
or?
Yeah, it was like 73.
Yeah.
Good memory, man. So some of the stuff like that. We have a locker room seat from the California Angels days, so the CA days. Came up on that at a local swap meet. So all sorts of random stuff. As far as game use, I don't know, just random stuff. Troy Gloss, like a batting glove that was given to us by Angels memorabilia collector on Instagram. But yeah, I love the game use stuff. It's fun. It's like you're having a piece of history. You can buy all the bobbleheads online for days, but and those are coming straight from China to your collection. There's nothing else going on there. But having a piece of we have some of the pieces, a jar of dirt from the 2010 All-Star game, things like that. That's kind of fun stuff. So always looking for that game use stuff.
Yeah, my two favorite pieces that Chris has in here is the chair that he talked about because of the way he got it. That thing is sweet. I mean, that is a clubhouse chair, and he found it at a swap meet at a flea market. Like it's like the nicest chair you could. I mean, that thing is. Bo Jackson could have sat on that thing. You know what I mean? So that's what's cool about it. And the other one was you found a Brian Downing game used bat too at a swap meet.
Yeah, the Brian Downing game use. It's like a huge Worth, big Tennessee thumper bat. This thing is massive, and Downing used it 'cause he was pretty.
Yeah, jacked up
Pretty
dude.
buff,
He was a
yeah.
buff dude before being buff and baseball was a thing. So those two are my favorite pieces of yours. And obviously the chairs stand out because I remember the bright orange chairs as a kid growing up. And then later I think the upper deck had that like brownish, not quite as yellow. It might have just been faded. I don't know.
Tell them about the piece that you want. The piece that is like your holy grail.
Oh man, the holy
Angels Big A.
my holy grail is an Anaheim Stadium trash can. I found one at the stadium, but they were using it in there was in the 500s, and it looked like it was like leading to a lounge where the ushers
But it's
take
like
their
the
break.
old orange top.
Old orange top, Anaheim Angels thing on the guy could not let me. I asked one of the ushers if I can go in there to take a picture of it. He goes, I would, but there's a camera right here, and I don't want to get in trouble. So he was a nice guy, and I said, hey, what does it say on the front? And the guy goes, it says Anaheim Stadium. I'm like, that's the can that I want. So if anybody knows where I can get an Anaheim Stadium trash can, I know it sounds weird, let me know because I want it. I want it. I know, weird, but hey, I'm the guy that walks through Angel Stadium, and if I see paint chipped off and I can see orange, I freak out. So that's why I want a trash can. So anyway, I don't know if there's anything else you want to touch on, Daniel, before we head out now.
Just to kind of give people a reminder that this is our last weekly podcast. We'll probably get together again next month in October probably after the World Series and everything, or
Yeah.
not October, November after the World Series and everything like that, and hopefully by then
We'll know.
we'll know about the Upton. We can talk more about that if he opts out. We can see options, because by then everyone that has a team option or player option will have to declare one way or the other what they're doing. We can get more into the free agent talk. We can get more into who the Angels would like, who you think the Angels should resign. But yeah, so look for us again in November. Winter meetings are in December, so I'm sure there's going to be some news coming out of there. So we'll have one in December. But other than that, I don't know if you want to make a World Series prediction.
I honestly, I don't want to pick a winner just yet, but I'll pick the two teams who I think will be there. I honestly think it'll be the Houston Astros versus I'll go with the Washington Nationals.
Mine's look almost like that, but I'm going Cleveland Nationals.
Okay.
Cleveland Nationals. Just I know
That Houston pitching.
the
man.
Houston pitching is great, but I think once you get past the Verlander
And the Keuchel.
and the Keuchel, I don't think there's much after that.
Yeah.
Where it seems like the Indians can throw like 3-4 good guys. I think that's what they come down to. I think it's gonna come down to those 3 or 4 guy pitchers. The bullpen, I give the advantage to Cleveland all the
Okay.
way.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I mean, again, if the Astros do make it to the World Series, I'm not gonna sit here and be totally shocked and
Yeah.
surprised. But if I had to put money on it, if I had to put my rent money on it, I would definitely go Nationals and Indians.
Okay, so you're not picking the Dodgers.
Not picking. I don't even think they might not even get out of the next round with Arizona
Yeah,
the way they're playing.
I don't want to say much, but yeah, Arizona I think won 11 of 19 head-to-head games
Right.
against the Dodgers in the regular season, and the Dodgers won 103 games. So
The only interesting part about that, they used their number 1, number 2 starter in the same game, so you guys got to
Yeah.
break down from that.
yeah. So what you have a Chris?
I'm going Houston, Arizona.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
that'd be nice.
Arizona.
World Series trip.
Arizona's a sneaky team.
World Series.
Little Arizona road trip. Little Arizona road trip. No, that'd be cool. Yeah, all right. And quickly before we leave, I just want to say a big shout out, a big congratulations to Joe Hudson, the general manager of the Inland Empire 66ers, for winning Cal League General Manager, or is it Executive of the Year? Executive of the Year for the California League. We had an interview with him. Maybe we'll play it next month.
Next time,
Our next podcast.
definitely.
We sat down and interviewed Joe, about a month and a half ago? So something like that.
Towards the end of last,
Yeah.
the minor league system.
And he was more than happy to sit down with us, sat down with us for about 5 minutes. We felt very welcome there, and he made sure that we were taken care of. So, Joe Hudson, congratulations on behalf of Halo Haven and the All Angels podcast on that achievement. Other than that, we're going to wrap it up. It's going to be a good postseason. It's been, these games that we've been watching have been fun. It always is in October. Just if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, allangelspodcast@gmail.com. And where can they reach us on the social media again?
Yeah, Twitter and Instagram are both at Halo_Haven. Halo_Haven. So look for posts, look for us being out and about during the off season. Try to put some more polls up, just to kind of keep you guys all going and keeping baseball in the mind.
Yeah, for sure. So, and then shout out to everyone who listens and everyone who comments on the Halo Haven pages, and the guys who email the show. Email us, and if you guys hear anything or you have a question, we'll try to do our best to give you our opinions. So, all right, thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next month. Enjoy playoff baseball. You guys have a great rest of the month. Happy Halloween.